Hello everyone, it is Liam, the Deaf Doom Metal, and it is my top 20 of 2023. Now, most people do these videos because they want to just show what they've bought this year and tell people about music, and that's the whole reason to do this video. But for me personally, to do this video is more to thank the bands that have put these albums out, because as a fellow musician, I use that in brackets, it's nice when people like take note of your work, because you could sit on these albums for maybe a year or two before you have the budget to record them, or you know, you're waiting for a label and stuff like that. So when people actually, you know, talk about your music at the end of the year and say it was a great album, that actually does mean a lot to quite a few people. So that's the main reason I do these videos, just kind of say thank you for killer music these artists have put out. Now I've put 20, and this is a mixed bag of EPs and albums. I didn't really want to do two separate videos because I didn't see the point, and this is literally my top 20 of albums I've listened to this year. Loads. Like, it's not like who's the favourite or anything like that, it's simply a breakdown of what's took my interest the most, and my number one pick is normally something that's kind of pushed the boat to what I normally like, and it's something I've actually enjoyed a lot, and I can't explain why I like it, and that's why it's become my number one or my number two. You know, it's that kind of thing. And there's all little things I pick in. I don't go by band credit. I don't go by who's the most popular. I never have done that, never will. It's purely what's taken my interest and what's impressed me the most. So enough waffling, we'll crack on. So number 20 is an album that was kind of my gateway into raw black metal. It's a genre, black metal is a genre I absolutely love now, and I've kind of dived into all the nooks and crannies of it. But the raw black metal side has always been a bit of a struggle for me until recently. And there's still some bands I just don't get how they're popular or what they put out musically. It's just like, you can barely hear it. But this one really has took my interest. It's a Spanish band, and number 20 is Calderum with Lord Cremidor. This came out through Death Prayer Records back in February. This is a one-man project by a chap called, I don't know his black metal name, but I know him as Mark. He's in Sanctimonium, Troll Cave, he's in loads of cool bands. But this is his one-man black metal project, and it is on the raw side of black metal. There's loads of hooks, it's very catchy, it's got synths in there, and it's a lot easier to get into than most, like, kind of the raw side of black metal, obviously, because it's that underproduced sound, but the energy it creates and the riffs and that, it reminded me a lot of like the 90s style, and I really enjoyed it. And it's one I've kind of revisited a lot more than I would have thought I would have done when I first bought it. And I enjoyed it, but I didn't think I'd enjoy it for the rest of the year because it came out quite early on. But it has stuck with me. I've stuck with it a lot. I put it on more than I would have thought I have, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. So number 20 is Calderum. Right, number 19 is some funeral doom, doom death, whatever you want to call it. This is an album of only 3 songs, over an hour long. And it's from a Greek band, and this is Decemberance. This is my number 19 pick with their album Implosions. I forget what label this came out of, but I'll put it down there. And yeah, wicked album. Like I say, 3 songs over an hour long. You're going to say, fuck me, that's a lot of music. And it is, but with this album, I was driving a lot for work, and I have been recently, which is about an hour away for this specific job I have to do. Like 2-3 times a week, and this is an album I've reached for a lot because I don't have to change anything, don't have to think about anything, I just slap it on, and musically it's fantastic. It creates a nice long-winded path of melancholic doom. It's a gorgeous like middle track which is all like acoustic instrumental bits, and it kind of ties the 2 main chunks of songs together. Like the first song is 24 minutes and then the third song's 37 minutes, so not for the weak-hearted, but I've persevered with this and I've enjoyed it a lot. There's loads of little elements. If you found like My Dying Bride, Esoteric, and all those kind of funeral doomy death bands that have that kind of melancholic feel to that, this is a perfect band for you. These guys have been around since the 90s. And yeah, fantastic album. This is their 3rd full length, which came out in March this year. So yeah, obviously it's this year. So Decemberance is my number 19 pick. Right, number 18 is an EP that completely caught me off guard, really. I mean, it was an EP I never really thought about, never even heard of the band. They're a fresh new band out of America, and this is in the vein of early death style death metal, which you could say has been copied loads. But this EP, for me, even though it does sound exactly like death, these songs are really catchy and really memorable. There's only 3 tracks on here, I think, by memory, or 4 tracks. Maybe even 5 tracks. I might have been dead wrong, but I think no, actually one's an instrumental, so technically 4 tracks. And that is Eternal, number 18, Eternal with Faceless Evil. I mean, that song alone, Faceless Evil, I can still hum it and remember the track off by heart in my head, and that is the reason why it's in this top 20. Songs that can stay in my head, and little EPs when they, you know, a couple of songs and you remember them off by heart. As soon as you hear them, you know who the band is, you know what it's about. That's perfect for me. And these guys are absolutely killing it. Already announced they've got a new album coming out in 2024, so that's awesome to hear. This is the self-release version. I think there's a Raw Skulls version and Into It Records version, I think, by memory. I know the Dutch labels are involved. But yeah, this came out back in February as well. So yeah, a lot of these come back out in the early start of the year and have just stuck with me. So yeah, Eternal, Faceless Evil. Right, number 17 is some Scottish death metal. And the reason this is in my top 20 is purely because mainly the production of it is fucking phenomenal. It sounds like a sledgehammer, and you've got the person's face on the curve. You bring the sledgehammer down, pieces everywhere. It sounds fantastic. And that is Penic Coffin, my number 17 pick, with Conscripted Morality. Came out through Macho Records. Who else was involved? At War with False Noise. I think there's another label involved, maybe not, I can't remember. But yeah, Scottish band, been around not too long. This is their 3rd EP, they haven't even done an album yet. Is it their 3rd EP? Yeah, and this came back in April. And it's phenomenal, it's just a sledgehammer of riffs. It's got that Morbid Angel vibe to it, the drums sound phenomenal, there's loads of energy and aggression. The only thing I would nitpick of it is the vocals aren't high enough for the mix. But to be fair, when you got production as heavy as this, I couldn't give a shit. It's brutal, brutally heavy. And this is, again, all these have obviously, but this one's stuck with me for ages just because of the production. You know, you put this on in the gym, you can just go. Proper death metal album, and it's because he's Scottish, you've got that extra little angst to it, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. So yeah, Penic Coffin, Conscripted Morality, fantastic EP. Right. Number 16 is a full length of a band that are massive at the moment in the UK. Probably one of the most popular death metal bands in the UK, on the new breed anyway, and that is the latest from Celestial Sanctuary with Insatiable Thirst for Torment. This came out back in August. This is their 2nd full-length album, and these boys, Tom, he's just created an absolute monster of a band that are proper in the big leagues now. Like, they've just grown and grown and grown, and this album is massive. Like, it's got a very much a Sepultura Rise vibe to it, in my head anyway. Like, there's one song on here that reminds me of, yeah, Biometralization, Cell Death. It reminds me of Biotech Godzilla from one of the Sepultura songs, I forget which one, but it has that vibe to it, and all sorts of riffs remind me of it, and it's just brilliant. The production's really heavy, really thick. It's got solos now in there. You've got lots more of the band getting involved in this album as well, so you've got more of a mixed bag of inspirations coming into the songs, or in the way they're played anyway. I'm fairly sure Tom writes all the songs, but yeah, mega album, proper nice cover as well, which makes it a lot easier to enjoy an album when you see a cover like that. And yeah, it's just fucking heavy, really, really heavy. Nearly dropped it as well. So there you go. My number was at 16 pick, Celestial Sanctuary. Really fucking heavy album. Right, number 15. This is some doomy death, and in the vein of Paradise Lost, and you'd be mistaken to think this is a Paradise Lost album, but it's not. It's a Turkish band. This is Sermon with their album Till Birth Do Us Part. This was put out through Batumi Records back in, when did this come out? In February. Yeah. So this one, I really like this because it's got that doomy death vibe that I absolutely love. It's got the melancholic riffs, ultra guttural growls. It's got loads of emotion in there, and you'd be mistaken if you didn't think it sounds like Paradise Lost. I love Paradise Lost, so easy to get into the band, but they're not copying Paradise Lost, but they are very, very similar. So I will say that is the only thing you could say about this band. They're not unique, but it's brilliant, and it is a really cool take on a doom death style, because there's not many bands that would do this kind of style anyway. You know, they either go for the death metal with the doomy sections in it, but these guys are proper doom with lots of growly under guttural vocals, and then you've got some wicked solos in there with a lot of wah effects and stuff like that. And yeah, a magic album. There's nice little instrumental acoustic sections in there as well. And yeah, really, really heavy album. And again, one that's stuck with me a lot this year since I heard it for the first time. So yeah, number 15 is Sermon. 14 is some German doom death from a band I absolutely adore. The vocals are mainly what sells this band for me. And that is Voidhaven with their latest album, Lithic. This came out through Ardor Music back in June. Now, I heard about this band absolutely ages ago. They put out an EP through Solitude Productions years ago, and I picked it up. There's only, I think, 2 tracks back then, and it was amazing. And the vocalist is Simon, who's in Ophis, Funeral Fuck. So if you know the singer from Funeral Fuck, you'll love this band. So Voidhaven are pretty much they almost are similar to Ophis in many ways, but the vocal style's obviously different. Got the clean vocals from Simon in there. And the song The Desolate Throne is the main reason for selling this album to me. It was an amazing track, and one that I've listened to pretty much all year since I heard it. Brilliant album, really heavy, really doomy, really melancholic. Yeah, so number 14, Voidhaven. Right, 13, cassette here. I don't have the vinyl version of this. So this is an American death metal band. Yeah, heard this. Only purely bought it because the cover reminded me of Lord of the Rings. And it's stuck me ever since. Really catchy, really heavy. Nice little death metal album, and that is Active Impalement with Infernal Ordinance. This is the Caligari Records tape version. I'm not sure if they did the vinyl. I know there is a vinyl. And this is, again, brilliant. This is a band that have been around since 2012, and this is their second full-length, which came out in February. And as you can see, it's got that kind of Lord of the Rings vibe to it, for me anyway. It reminded me of Lord of the Rings. And yeah, it's fucking heavy, really catchy, really groovy, chunky, thick, has that kind of raw edge sound to it as well, so it's not overproduced. And yeah, just some really solid death metal. So if you've not checked out Active Impalement, strongly recommend it. Yeah, fantastic album. So that's my number 13, because that is one I've played a lot. Now, 12 is a band many of you might know. No, I don't know, but this is a Chilean blackened death metal band, and it's so catchy and really memorable songs. And that is what's this called? Winds of Tragedy with Hating Life. Is that right? Yeah. This is put out through Muse Music and Tragedy Promotions, which is the guy behind this band's label. So he's kind of helped self-release his own album. This is his second full-length by memory, yeah, which came out back in February. And it is black and death metal, so it's got a real catchy, melodic black metal edge to it, whereas lots of tremolo picking, lots of harmonised riffs in that style, very memorable, lots of blasts, but then the vocals are proper guttural death metal vocals, and the guitar tone as well is more in the vein of death metal, so you've got that kind of black metal written tracks with a death metal production, so it works brilliantly. Very catchy, very memorable. You can hum loads of the riffs off this album. It's really catchy. Sergio is the chap behind the whole project, and it's fucking phenomenal. I really love this album, and I imagine if anyone else heard it, they would agree with me. It's fucking brilliant. So yeah, Winds of Tragedy, Hating Life, that is my number 12 pick. Now, number 11 is a little bit controversial, because I know a lot of people don't like this band for political reasons or whatnot. I don't get involved in any of that, and you know, the only thing I draw a line at probably more is nonsense and paedophiles, that kind of thing. I'll stay way clear of that. But this guy, it's all hit and miss really what you listen to, but this is his latest album, and there's none of that. Well, I can't pick out any of what you'd think he's about, and that is the latest from Goatmoon with What Once Was Shall Be Again, put out through Werewolf Records, which is based out of Finland, another controversial label to most people. So this is an album, I think this is his 7th full-length album, and this is kind of pagan black metal. This came out back in January of this year, so it's been out a long time, and I must admit, it is brilliant. It is really catchy black metal, very easy to get into. He's a very talented dude, no matter what you say about him musically. He's an incredibly talented bloke. He's just, some of the stuff he does on here is amazing, like all the compositions and the different styles. You kind of got different instruments brought in, like very pagan, folky kind of stuff, and then you got the really harsh black metal with the rawness to it. Excuse me, I'm quite ill as well. The band have been around since the early 2000s, and yeah, absolutely churning out quality music. I think it's him down there as the main guy behind the band. But yeah, I mean, I've gone back to this a lot. Like, I heard it, I loved it, I thought it was really easy to get into. And most black metal, you don't normally do that. You either like it or you don't like it, or there's something sticking out, you know, that's kind of bugs you. But with this, there's none of that. It's pure energy. Songs are energetic, they're well written, you know, everything about it is great. So yeah, that's my number 11 pick, Goatmoon. I'll have a little beer swig here, so cheers to anyone who's still watching. I've been desperate to get this video out for ages, but kids being ill, I've been ill, it's been crazy. So this is my top 10 now. And at number 10, it's a proper zombie death doom from the UK. You probably guess who it is. Eternal Rot with Moribund. And the cover alone is fucking fantastic. Mark Riddick artwork. Put out through Gods of War Records back in July. It's fucking amazing. These guys are so... I mean, you can compare them a little bit to Hooded Menace, but then they take it another step further. Like, if you remember the really early Hooded Menace, it was guttural, proper stompy, doomy, stonery doom kind of vibe. These guys have that template, and they kind of go down the more... They've kind of got that kind of groovy doom going on. So it's like stoner doom, but with the zombie like vibe to it. It has that death metal element to it. Because it's ultra guttural, processed vocals, but they do. I mean, like I always say, this band sounds like if you put a microphone down in a crypt and you think you can hear music playing, it literally sounds like zombies are playing doom metal. It's brilliant, really, really catchy. This is probably the most catchiest album they've ever done. They've kind of each stage they've gone on, they've gone more of a traditional doom writing approach with the ultra guttural vocals. There's more tempo in this album than, say, the first album. And yeah, really, really easy to get into. These guys are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And they're not even a live band, they're just a studio band. So yeah, wicked, wicked. Number 10, Eternal Rot, love it. Number 9 is probably my ultimate sad boy black metal album. Now, the Afsky album came out this year, and I love Afsky. And I was convinced that'd be in my top 20 when I did this end of year video when it came out. And it would have been, maybe, but I just didn't revisit enough as I thought I would. Whereas this album, from a French-Canadian black metal guy, I've listened to this loads, and it's proper sad boy black metal, very depressive, very moody, very melodic. It's fucking awesome. So this is my number 9 pick, Nordic Winter, with this Mournful Dawn. Came out through Nature Productions. This came out back in August. This is the 7th full-length album from the one-man project. I can't pronounce his name because it's in French, and I'm terrible at French. There's not even a picture of him, but if you look it up, you'll see. So yeah, this is very melodic, sad boy black metal. So it's depressive, it's moody. That cover basically symbolises the music. It's cold, icy, wintry, mournful, sorrowful. If you're in a bad mood, it'll put you in a deeper bad mood. Like if you're feeling down, that kind of thing. It's fucking miserable, but I absolutely love it. I love that kind of music where it captures the emotion and what it's trying to do and then accelerates it loads. So, and this guy is amazing at it. Like the melodies he uses and the harmonies, and there's some riffs on here that just stick in your head. And mostly with this kind of black metal style, I'll have one song and then the next song just sounds exactly the same. There's loads of things I can pick out on this album that I absolutely love, and I've revisited a ton. So yeah, Nordic Winter, this Mournful Dawn, is my number 9 pick. Love it. Now, I think this is right, but this is my favourite EP of the year, and it surprised the hell out of me because it wasn't going to be, because I didn't expect it to sound anything like this. I kind of had an inkling it'd be heavy and different, but not the direction they've gone in. It's fucking brilliant. They've really done themselves proud. This is my number 8 pick, Malediction with The Soil Throne, put out through Mocho Records and Cosmic Key Creations. This came out in November, so it hasn't been out long compared to the other ones I've reviewed, but this one I've spun a ton since it's come out, and the reason it's so high and in my top 10 is purely because it surprised me. Had no expectations it to be this good, and it fucking flattens me every single time I listen to it. Malediction, obviously UK band, been around since the early 90s, I think. They've been around a long time. This has took them about 30 odd years to get to this stage where they've kind of evolved into this new hybrid of ultra brutal death metal. You know, angry old men churning out fantastic music is something to behold. You know, I love it. You got Rich here. I forget the other two chaps' names, but these three are the original members. And you got these new chaps here. This chap used to be the drummer in Gore Rotted, by memory, and he adds a whole new element to the band. Like, it's fucking heavy. Like, I mean, Rich obviously is fucking letting out his wizard skills on this EP. The solos on it are ridiculous. Chap here is barking like mad. It's brilliant. This guy's holding down all the riffs, blasts for days, bass for days. You know, it's fucking awesome. It is a really, really enjoyable EP, is what I'm trying to tell you. And it's proper heavy. Like, I think it's the second track, Skywritten Rapture, the way that starts. Black Narcissist, the riffs and the solo on that is mental. Yeah, easily the best EP for the year for me, just purely because it's really catchy, really heavy, really, really memorable. And it's diverse as well. Like, the last track's an acoustics track. You know, they do everything on this. You'd think it's like a little mini album. But obviously they're not. They're building up to something new. So yeah, well done, boys. Malediction, that is my number 8 pick. Ugh. Right. Excuse me. Right, number 7. It's probably my favourite. This is my favourite black metal album of the year. You could maybe say that one in this top 5 might be a black metal album, but I'm not sure. But this is definitely my favourite black metal album. So this is Dratna. Hopefully that focuses with Fornera, something like that, it says down there. So this is a Northern Ireland band based... I forget where he is in Northern Ireland. Doesn't matter. But anyway, chap's called Andrew, and he does everything on this album. He's been really prolific with his music. All of it's been solid. And this album this year really took me by surprise at how diverse it is. There's lots of different instruments going on. The drums are very blasty, the vocals are raspy and icy and horrible. And it's just got tons and tons of emotion, loads of energy, and it's incredibly memorable. Like, it's really, really enjoyable, and really, for a chap doing it all by himself, I think in his shed or something ridiculous like that, it's fucking awesome. It really, really is. This was put out through Fire Production or something that's like an American label, and yeah, incredible release. So this is his, did I write it down, second full length? Yeah, it came out in May, and it's just been one I've revisited a ton. It's really, really easy to get into, really melodic. The production, everything is fantastic, all clear, all memorable, easy to digest, and yeah, it's fucking awesome. So I haven't checked out Dratna. Strongly recommend it. Most people I know haven't spoke about that, which is a shame because it's a brilliant release. Right, number 6 is some German death doom. I love this band, and I was expecting to like this album, but I wasn't expecting it to be as heavy as it was, and that's what really impressed me. This is the latest from Decembre Noir, with Your Sun Set, My Sunrise, through what's this gone through? Life Force Records. Came out in October, and their last album was good, but it was a bit too soppy for me. I liked it, but they used to have this really guttural, really heavy, chunky, doomy death style, and the first 2 albums are flawless to me. Then they kind of wavered a bit, and then with this one they're coming back really strong. This is their 5th full-length album, excuse me, and it's just brilliant. I mean, some of the tracks on there are fucking amazing. Like what are the ones I like? Sleepwalker and Yesterday's Smoke, Against the Daylight. I mean, it's so heavy. There's 2, I mean, the double kick and the blasts on there, it's got everything on this. And then you've got the sad boy, slow down, doomy tracks with loads of melodies. And yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. I've spun this a ton since it's come out. Really, really, really easy to get into. Not very long. No faffing about. You've got their signature guitar style. Vocals are ultra guttural. And yeah, it's fucking marvellous. Really, really heavy album. So yeah, Decembre Noir. Go check that one out. That's my number 6. Now, top 5. Then I'll leave you all alone for the year. This one really, really surprised me. I mean, I loved her last album. And it was an album that I didn't know I'd like, because she's known for black metal, and I wasn't really into it. The vocals didn't really work. But I haven't revisited since I heard it, so I could be wrong now. But this is her latest album, 4th full-length album by Myrkur, something like that, called Spine. think that's what it's called. Came out through Relapse Records back in October. And this is a blend of that kind of folky pop style she does with her clean vocals. But then it's got the black metal elements in there that she's known for as well. But they're blended in really subtly. It's more the drums and some of the guitar riffs that are kind of the black metal style. And you can kind of hear some black metal shrieks in the background that harmonise with the vocals, if you can picture that. But this is an absolutely gorgeous album, and I've been using this a lot for when we put the kids to bed and we kind of chill out and listen to music. And my 4-year-old son, said he really liked this album. When he came through in the morning and said to me, "What were you listening to? Or what did you put on?" Because he never heard it before. We normally just listen to Ulva all the time. And this one's kind of starting to push that away now, which is quite good because it's been 3 years now, that album, just every night. But there's some gorgeous songs on it, like My Blood is Gold, the last track, Blazing Sky, Like Humans, which I think was a single. And yeah, it really has taken me by surprise. I didn't think, I mean, the last album was a bit folky and there was a few weak songs in it. This one, I like it from start to finish. Like, I don't skip any of it at all. Really, really, really enjoying it. So yeah, my number 5 album for the year, Myrkur. Number 4 is some Canadians that brought out their debut full length back in January, and I was recommended to it by my friend Roger on YouTube. I checked it out and I absolutely love it. If you like Candlemas, with kind of like a blackened, evil, witchcrafty kind of vibe to it, these guys will be right up your street, and that is Tribunal with, what's this called? The Weight of Remembrance for a $20 spin. And this is brilliant. Female fronted with like a, I think it's a cello she uses. And then the fella in it as well, doing the kind of growly vocals with the heavy guitars, but they're not overly distorted guitars. It's kind of like a very dry guitar tone, but it works really well because it's got thumping bass. And they've expanded into a full lineup now, and they sound even heavier if you watch them live on YouTube. But it's brilliant. Really, really heavy album, really catchy, really melodic, really, really easy to remember the songs. And like, I love Candlemas, and they remind me, excuse me, of that kind of early style of Candlemas, like Epicus style. It's just brilliant, really catchy, but not in a cheesy way though. These guys got a bit more class to it. And yeah, it's just dark, evil, heavy, got that kind of occult vibe to it. And yeah, fucking love it. Brilliant, brilliant album. So yeah, number 4, Tribunal. Right, number 3, nearly there. This album's fantastic, and I love it to bits. And it's a band, again, that I remember when they started out, gigged with them a few times as well, and have evolved tremendously. And this is the latest from Godthrymm. This is my number 3 pick with Distortions. Got out through Profound Law Records back in August. I'm just going to move my list down so I can read the end of it. Where's my mouse? So this one is a project started by Hamish, who was a former guitarist of My Dying Bride, former guitarist of Solstice, if you know the UK doom band Solstice. And he's made this project totally unique. They started off like a kind of like a pagan-y kind of Solstice, and because it's Hamish writing most of the riffs and the lyrics, because he's the vocalist as well, it's taken on this kind of, you know, it's him because he has a very signature. Because I grew up listening to My Dying Bride from the kind of 2000 albums, which he features a lot of them on. And he has a very signature way he plays the guitar. So when I hear this, I instantly love it because it reminds me of those My Dying Bride albums that I fell in love with and went on this whole doomy death journey I've now become, if you know what I mean. But this album is different. It's got more to it than the last one. He's got his wife on backing vocals. You've got Sean, who's always been on the drums, but he was also in Anathema. He's been in My Dying Bride himself. Then you got Bob the Sasquatch on bass, and yeah, I mean, there's even a picture of their live guitarist, which was quite cool. But this also features Aaron Strainthorpe from My Dying Bride, and it's just a really, really heavy, epic doom album. Like, Hamish's songwriting skills have developed loads since the early days of when they became Godthrymm. And like, as Titans, that's such a solid track. I mean, I would say that it's probably the strongest track, and it is literally the starting point of the album. The rest of the album's fantastic, but that song specifically, just the way it breaks up into different sections, it has everything. Like, it reminds me of the mid-noughties My Dying Bride. It reminds me of Solstice. It's got Paul Bearer vibes to it with the vocal style and the way it's produced. It's got everything, and it's so catchy. Very chunky, heavy riffs. Solos are wicked. The leads are wicked. Backing vocals from his wife are amazing. And it kind of leaves this whole massive wall of sound, and it's so diverse in the songs as well. Not one song sounds the same. Like in some doom bands that kind of use the same kind of chord patterns by accident. None of that on here. Like, very unique songs. Like Devils has got really weird riff to it, and it's just brilliant. And it's one I've listened to a boatload. So yeah, number 3, Godthrymm with Distortions. Right, last two. Now this is more in my... I'm known for this kind of style of doom death, and most people wouldn't be surprised to see. Well, they might be surprised to see this band, but I just love this album. It's one, again, has Aaron Strainfort from My Dying Bride doing one of the tracks, so that kind of was a selling point to me, because I'm a massive My Dying Bride fan. But it's actually the Finns, Marianas Rest, with their album or whatever that's called, put out through Napalm Records back in March. This is their 4th full-length album, and it's brilliant. Like, for me, it has everything I want from a doom death album. It's got loads of melody, loads of energy in some of the songs, the guitar tone and the guitar harmonies, the way that the effects on the guitars, it all rings in my ears how I want it to ring. Like, I love it. Like, it's just brilliant, and it's really, really catchy. Like Sirens, the last track of the album, is more with Aaron on it, and he does kind of like poetry and spoken word stuff through it, and it's a whole lovely way to end the album. But then the rest of it has got, the vocalist on this band has got very much a shrieky kind of I'm dying kind of sound to his voice, and there's loads of emotion in it, and it works brilliant, and it stands out from the rest of the kind of doomy death albums that come out, because these guys have their own kind of style. And I fucking love it. I will leave links to everything I talk to below, so you can actually check out what I'm talking about. But yeah, no one's talked about this, and I have no idea why. I fucking love it. I think it's a brilliant album. The last album was really good as well, but this one, miles better. And yeah, just really, really catchy, really melodic, really doomy. Yeah, I've listened to this a ton, and that's why it's my number 2 album of the year. So Marianas Rest with Ear. Now, number 1. Now, most people know I pick number 1s, and they're normally weird. I don't mean to do it to be different or try and make this video more interesting. I generally put these albums at number 1 because they're the ones that kind of melt my mind, because I never think I'm going to like it to start with, and then the more and more I listen to it throughout the year, I love it. And this one just completely surprised me how much I fucking like it. I really, really like it. I still listen to it now, and that is the latest from the band Crosses. Now, this isn't a metal album at all. This is more of a, I don't even know what you call it. It's like synth kind of pop / ambient music. Like, it's got the vocalist from the Deftones, Chino, and another chap, I forget his name. Nothing tells you in there. That's just a gatefold of some lass looking sad. But what this album has, it's just got loads of emotion. And Chino, I love Chino's clean vocals in Deftones. Like, they really are the selling point for me for what I wanted to check out, because me and my wife, our first dance was the Deftones at our wedding. So he's always had a little soft spot in my heart for his vocal style, and this album has got loads of it. It's really, really catchy. It even has Robert Smith from The Cure on one of the songs. I'm dying now. And it's brilliant. Really, really catchy. Like Light as a Feather, Found, Grace. There's loads of songs, but they're not. It's a proper chill out album. Like, it's not. Maybe the first song, Pleasure, has kind of got kind of a heavier vibe to it, but the rest of it's proper mellow, proper chill. And I've listened to this since it came out in October, tons. It came out through Warner Records, and yeah, I've seen a lot of people talk about it and mention it, and yeah, it took me completely by surprise. And it's one of those albums where I put it at number 1 purely because I would never listen to this normally. I wouldn't go out my way to buy anything like this because I wouldn't know what it is. Something has kind of tested my music knowledge, shall we say, of what I like, and it, you know, widened it. And I really, really, really like it. It's really easy to get into, really just nice and chilled, and it calms me down. If I'm in a shitty mood, I can put this on, calms me right down. So my number one pick for the year is Crosses with Good Night, God Bless, I Love You, Delete. Terrible album name though, I won't deny that. But the music on it is gorgeous, brilliant album. So yeah, my number one pick. And that is it. That's my top 20 for the year. Really late on, but you can't really do it too early because it's not technically the end of the year. So I will say cheers to everyone who stuck to me this year. It's been a fucking weird year for me personally. I've got no plans for 2024. I will see how I feel. I'm not going to make any grand claims I'm going to do some crazy stuff because I'm not. I just really appreciate everyone who watches my YouTube videos, everyone I talk to, anyone who sends me anything, anyone who emails me, comments on my shit. I generally really appreciate you all. It's made my life a lot easier when I do this because I hate talking to myself on the phone to record it, edit it, put it out there and hope people like it. It is generally appreciated that you all stick with me, listen to what I have to say and check out the music I'm, you know, pimping out, because that's the whole point of it. It's just to check out music and support the artist. So I'll leave links below to everything. I hope you all have a great new year. I hope you enjoy the music, and I'll speak to you next year. Cheers.